Hi, friends. This is the lesson for Easter Sunday. This is a very special day, and our story will help us know why we remember this day as a very special day in our church. Getting ready for the mystery of Easter, we walked through the Sundays of Lent. And that color is purple because we are waiting with all of the people of that time. We're waiting for a king to rescue us. And we look at the parts of Jesus's life to help us know what kind of king God sent to us. What kind of king Jesus really was. So just like with our other lessons, we'll review just quickly the lessons we had at the beginning of Lent. Here's the lesson from the first Sunday. This shows the family that God chose to be the mother and the father of God. Jesus came to the world as a wordless baby. For the second Sunday of Lent, we remember that Jesus didn't stay a baby. Jesus grew. And one day, after Jesus' family had taken him to the great city of Jerusalem, they were going home and they could not find their boy. They went back to Jerusalem and looked and looked and looked. And finally, where did they find him? They found him in the temple. And his parents were sad and they said to him, "Why did you do this?" And Jesus said the thing that surprised them, that made them wonder about their son. Jesus said, "Didn't you know that I would be in my Father's house?" On the third Sunday of Lent, we remember Jesus' baptism. Jesus grew to be a man. And when he was baptized by John the Baptist, he came up out of the water, and there was a voice from heaven, accompanied by a dove that rested near Jesus. And the people said that they heard a voice that said, "This is my son, with whom I am well pleased." On the fourth Sunday of Lent, we remembered that after Jesus' baptism, he went into the desert where he was tempted. But the Spirit of God was with him, and Jesus said no to the tempter. Afterwards, angels cared for Jesus. Then he went back over the River Jordan to do his work. On the fifth Sunday of Lent, we remembered that Jesus would come close to people that lots of other people would not come close to. This was Jesus's work. Jesus was a healer. And you can see Jesus's hands touching the blind man's eyes. Because when Jesus came close, people could see things that they hadn't seen before, and they could do things that they never dreamed of before. They were made well when Jesus came close. Jesus was also a great teacher and parable maker. And he told the people many things about the kingdom of heaven and about what his Father's love was really like. On the sixth Sunday of Lent, we remembered when Jesus went to Jerusalem for the last time. Jesus showed his disciples the bread of life and the cup of salvation. Jesus said to his followers, whenever you thank God for these things and you eat them like this, I will be there. There was so much about that last week, those last few hours with Jesus that was very hard to understand. The disciples were confused. Why was Jesus saying these things? But they did not forget. And here is our lesson for today. After Jesus had been taken into the night by the temple guards, many sad and confusing things happened that night. And then Jesus was taken outside the walls of Jerusalem and crucified. That afternoon, Jesus died, and the sky grew dark. Later, Jesus' body was taken down from the cross, and then he was buried in a tomb that was kind of like a cave, and a large stone was rolled over the front to shut it tight. That Saturday was so quiet that you could almost hear the earth breathing. No one really knew what had happened. Then, early on Sunday morning, the women had the courage to go to the tomb. They wanted to be close to Jesus, even if it was sad. They wanted to remember and to care for his body there. But when the women got to the tomb, they discovered that the stone had been rolled away. When they looked inside, the tomb was empty. Jesus had died on the cross, but somehow he was still with them, especially in the bread and the wine. When you look at this side, the crucifixion, you need to remember that this side, the resurrection, is always there. And even though you might want only one side, you can't actually take it apart. And this, not being able to pull them apart, is part of the mystery of Easter. And that's why the color turns from purple to a dazzling white, the pure color of celebration, of forgiveness, of new everything. Now, I want to show you one more thing. When you look at it like this, there is a beginning, a middle, and then there is an end. But we know that is not the end of the story. We know that Easter makes all the difference. So let's look at it a new way. Now we can look at the story like this. And Jesus is still with us. So then the story does not end. We can follow Jesus's life through the full circle and remember that Jesus is with us in the bread and the wine. And this truth goes on and on and on. Now, I wonder what you like best about this story. Or if there was something about this story that was especially for you today. I hope you have a wonderful Easter, and I am so thankful that God loves you and God loves me so much that he sent his son to be our king, but a very, very special kind of king.